Welcome to Style Break on Caseback Watches, episode number 1 with the first topic, and I'm really happy to present you here the maybe most useful garment a man can own, and this is the field jacket, the cotton-made field jacket. And in this video I like to inform you about styles, about the design, about the history, 2 shopping tips. I want to introduce you to the, let's say, flamboyant uncle of the field jacket, which is the safari jacket. And we will speak about fabric, about the material, and about the urban myth or the urban legend that the jeans you've bought 20 years ago is better than the modern product, which is true. And the reason for this I'll present you in this video. Okay, let's start with the history. And the first appearance the field jacket made in the former colonies in Africa and Southeast Asia during the colonial wars. And on images you see that this really was a very drastic cut with a traditional military uniform with all the ornamental work on it, all this gold, the epaulettes, all those glitter and bling bling. They got rid of all this. They wanted a functional garment. And after that you could see the field jacket in every war, every conflict through the decades. You could see it in North Korea in the 50s, in the Vietnam conflict during the 50s and the 60s. And of course you can see the field jacket on all images from the North African campaign, World War II, on both sides, the German side and the British side. And you may notice that those jackets were very similar in design because, as I said, functionality was the key, was the king here. They just wanted a very robust and useful jacket on both sides. And this brings me to my field jacket I'm wearing right now. This is a hand-tailored jacket, but the predecessor I've bought 2005 in an H&M boutique in Germany for 39 euros. Damn cheap jacket. And then after 2 or 3 years it was worn out and I wanted to replace it. It was impossible. And then I decided, let's make a little experiment here. Let's take the old jacket and manufacture it myself. And then we can do the calculation. We can see how many hours I need and what the price for this jacket then should be. 39 euros, really? And then I disassembled the old jacket. I ripped everything apart, the mess you see here. This was the old jacket. And I transformed the mess into an exact copy of the commercial pattern which was in use to produce that H&M jacket. And then I started sewing and my God, I stopped the time. But after hour 10, 15, 20, with all those details, all the pockets, all the shoulder straps and everything, it was terrible. And then I contacted a friend of mine. She works in the garment industry or in the fashion industry. And I asked her, how can they do this? How can they produce a jacket for 39 euro retail price with all those details? And you could see with some imperfections that really a guy or a woman had sewn that jacket. And I asked her, how much money do they make an hour to come to that price of 39 euros? $1 an hour or what? And she smiled and said, honey, $1 a day. And this is the secret behind those low prices. It was really an eye-opener for me. And now I'm happy that I've made this jacket myself. Far away from perfect. You can see wrinkles here all over the shoulders because commercial pattern, right? It's not a bespoke garment. But this is the little story behind my personal H&M copy field jacket. And this brings me to the next topic, which is also my next tailoring project. And this is the flamboyant uncle of the field jacket, the safari jacket. And back then in the 30s, there was a time when a safari was a suitable sport for the upper 10,000s. And you can see safari jackets on all images and on those wonderful fashion illustrations made by, for example, Lawrence Fellows for Esquire magazine in the 30s and the 40s. But the safari jacket is not completely vintage. It saw a revival in the 70s because Roger Moore sported one as James Bond in The Man with the Golden Gun. And this Moore Bond jacket is still available, sort of, is still available, and I tell you where in the shopping tips at the end of this video, okay? Yes, and here you can see the first drawings from my personal jacket in scribbled illustrations and with some color in it. And you may ask now why I've made all those pockets first and not the jacket front. And the explanation is that I will attach all those pockets on this jacket and then I can figure out the exact positions. And then I produce the jacket front and the jacket back and the jacket sleeves and so on. And so this will really a bespoke safari jacket, and it will come without those wrinkles you can see on this one. Let's speak briefly about jeans. What is it? If you bought 20 years ago a jeans, then this was a relatively substantial garment and you could wear the thing, let's say, 2 or 3 years, right? And if you buy jeans now from one of those big brands, then you are under the impression, or at least I and other people I know are under the impression, that you can wear the thing 6 or 8 months and then it looks shit. And more people are under the impression that the garment today is lightweight and the jeans back then was a relatively heavy piece of cloth. What's that? What have they done with cloth? And this is exactly the explanation, because you are right, I am right, and all the other guys who are worried about modern jeans are correct. I've read an article from a German, some sort of textile university, and they've counted the threads. They counted really all the construction of the fabric. If you imagine a loom, right? You imagine a loom. Then you have thread in this direction. The English word for this is weft, I've learned, weft. And in that direction come the warp threads. And together they form this grid, which is fabric. And you cannot reduce all those wefts, because then the fabric would fall apart. But you can reduce, and this is what they've done, you can reduce the warp thread. You can reduce the warp thread, then the fabric will be cheaper. And of course, this was the goal there. This was the goal, to reduce costs. Now the fabric is more lightweight, and now it can break very easy compared to the fabric back then. Luckily, this opened a gap for independent manufacturers, and they offer sometimes now the quality you've seen 20 years ago. But you don't find that quality anymore from the big manufacturers. But now back to the fabric of our field and safari jackets. And even if you're not an expert for fabrics, it's very easy to see, or better to feel, quality. Just take the garment. Just take the garment. And if you have the garment in your hands and you feel, wow, this is really, really robust. This feels really good. It feels sturdy, there's a nice drape and everything. I like to touch this jacket. Then you have good quality. And if you read 100% cotton, stay completely away from blend. This is a blend here, by the way, with poly, as you can see, polyester, which I bought because I wasn't so experienced back then. But it's just not right. It's not the real stuff. It's not the real stuff. It doesn't age well. It's hard to work with. It's hard to press it. And yes, manufacturers tell you all the time that this is modern fabric, and with the ingredients of polyester, this makes it superior, blah, 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 blah. It's a lie. It's a clear lie. They want to cut costs. So no poly for you. Believe me, it's not worth it. And sometimes you find linen, and this is a great blend. Cotton and linen, if the weight is right, if the feel is right, then this can be a really, really nice garment. So cotton and linen, yes. Cotton and poly, no, absolutely not. 100% cotton, great. Okay? Cotton has one challenge, I should say, but it's a problem, in fact. It's a damn problem. It shrinks in the washing machine. And even a high quality fabric garment can shrink about 5%. And imagine yourself, let's imagine you're a really big person, a really tall guy, and your jacket is 1 meter long. Then 5 centimeters or 2 inches, and you will see that. And even if you're a smaller person and your garment shrinks, let's say 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch, then you will see this. And if you bought this thing with a very tight fit, then it will be too small. And so what many people do is buying the garment slightly too big, then they put it in the washing machine 2 times, and then it fits. And yeah, why not? I've done it myself and it works fine. But then I find another method which is unorthodox, but it works better in my eyes. You buy the garment only slightly too big, you put it 1 time in the washing machine for the overall look, and then you use the dry cleaner. Every time the thing is dirty, you give it to the dry cleaner. It maintains the colors, it maintains the form, and of course the size. And in my experience, it's way better for the jacket if you use the washing machine maybe 1 time at the beginning and then dry cleaner, dry cleaner, dry cleaner. Okay, shopping. I have 2 shopping tips for you, and the first one is the safari jacket. I found an interesting website, not affiliated with them. It's Iconic Alternatives, and this means exactly it. The guys there, they pick a very famous piece of fashion, very famous garment from movies or theater or what else, and they can find now Roger Moore's Bond safari jacket, not the exact one, but from other brands, from other manufacturers which produce similar garments. And even if you don't like that safari jacket, check out that website. Very, very interesting things on it, very interesting content. And the second jacket I want to recommend is not necessarily a safari or field jacket, it's more a working jacket, really tough thing. And I ran the other day in a buddy of mine and he bought a Carhartt jacket from this big manufacturer. And I saw the thing and I felt it and I thought, this is great. What's this? And how much did you pay for this outstanding fabric quality? And he said, well, 119 euros. And this jacket I found on Amazon, so you find an affiliate link in the description. This I really can recommend because you can feel the quality, you can see the quality. Makes, by the way, very nice and manly shoulders if you are in need of brighter, wider shoulders, then the jacket could be for you. And this is really a substantial garment. You don't need to buy that with that jacket every 3 years. I think this thing will last 10 years or even more. Okay, that's enough for this video. I think I will continue now with the work on my safari jacket. Even the tiniest details demand special attention, and you have to work very precise even to produce such small things like shoulder straps. By the way, if you're interested, this is, I think, British canvas, they call it, at Merchant and Mills. Not affiliated with them, but I really like the store they have there in London. Okay, and that's all for this episode. If you want to see updates regarding the safari jacket, my own work here, then please join me on Instagram. It's caseback_Tim. And now let me thank you very much for your attention and maybe until next time. By the way, did you know that the word denim is French? I've read this, I was totally astonished. Denim is in fact de Nîmes, and you can translate it from Nîmes. And Nîmes is a city in France, and apparently they produced there the first denim. Yeah, and then Levi Strauss took it to the United States and manufactured there the first jeans. But yeah, fun to know fact, right?